Yo, yo, yo. What's up, thugs? What's up, gangsters? What up, Asians? What up, Japanese? What up, Chinese? What up, my Brooklyn ballers? My New Yorkers? My Texans? My blacks? My whites? My greens? My theys? My thems? And I'm not a rapper. I can't. I was on a roll right there, but I suck. Alright, we got some stuff to discuss here. How to save Call of Duty. That's going to be what this video is mainly about. I got a little bit of news. There ain't much really to talk about, so I'm just kind of putting this video out. You know, it's been a few days since my last video. That didn't even break 100 views. Sad face emoji, but, you know, it's fine. We're almost at 400 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. But I don't actually care about views, guys, but how do we save Call of Duty? How do we save Call of Duty, guys? Well, I came prepared here. I made a list. Because I'm not, you know, this is the first time I've ever actually wrote out anything for a video here. I usually just go off the top of my head, but I wanted to make sure I got some key points down and didn't forget any of the key points. Now, this ain't going to be some in-depth, every little fucking detail on how to save Call of Duty. Okay, and this is going to be just my opinions, but before we get into this, you know, let me show you something that's coming to Black Ops 7. Pretty excited. I don't know, I used to be a big fan of the party modes, that's basically what's coming here is the party modes, but let me show you guys. We got some images here. Check this out. Alright, so this is what Treyarch posted, just some images. We're eating good in Season 1, which we are. Map-wise, we are. Now, these game modes, it looks like the top left one is Sticks and Stones. I didn't care for that when I was a kid back in Black Ops 1, but I played it once in a while. Looks like we got Gun Game and then Prop Hunt on the top right. Prop Hunt's always a blast. I really enjoyed that. And then in this image here, I really don't know what these are. Well, obviously the bottom left is one in the chamber. That's got to be one in the chamber. Well, literally in the picture, there's only one bullet in the chamber, so I actually just realized that. But yeah, one in the chamber, I liked playing that, you know. Back in the Black Ops 1 days with that whole COD point system, where it was basically like betting, gambling, but, you know, not with real money. Super fun. Sticks and Stones, Gun Game, one in the chamber. I played a fuck ton of those. Not so much Sticks and Stones, like I said, but one in the chamber and Gun Game. Loved playing those as a kid. So, and those other party modes, Prop Hunt, I played a lot of Prop Hunt in Cold War. Believe it or not, that's actually the only Call of Duty where I really played Prop Hunt with my friend. That shit was actually a lot of fun. So I'm honestly down to give this a go. I mean, more modes, the better. The game desperately does need more modes. But yeah, that's basically all the news we got. I mean, Battlefield 6 destroyed Call of Duty, but other YouTubers have already talked about that. I'm not going to ramble on about that. I try not to, you know, copy everything, you know, the other YouTubers, you know, Blame Truth and Eurocinema. I try not to cover every little thing that they do. I'm sure they'll talk about these game modes coming too, but either way, that's exciting news. But anyway, how do we save Call of Duty? Well, what I got down here is my step one, and this is, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I do think this is going to happen. It's a remaster. I think that's the first step to getting this series on track, is a remastered of an old game. With GTA 6 coming out next year, around the same time, the competition is unreal. These last few years, the competition has been unbelievable for Call of Duty. So I think a Call of Duty remaster, I almost for sure think it's going to happen next year. I think it's a must, though, because, look, I'm not a big GTA guy myself, so I really could care less about GTA. But I'm so happy that it's as big as it is, and I'm so happy it's coming out the same time Call of Duty is coming out, because it gives them major competition, even more competition. I mean, just look at the numbers and the sales for Call of Duty this year against Battlefield, let alone next year with Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, it is going to be crazy, and I'm super excited to see what happens, and I think a remaster, whether it be of World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. I would say Black Ops 2, but since Black Ops 2 maps are being put into this game, Black Ops 7, I don't think that'd be a good idea. I think World at War or Black Ops 1 is the best bet. Now this time, unlike Modern Warfare Remastered in 2016 when they did that remaster, I think they need to actually don't fuck us over. They fucked us over in Modern Warfare Remastered by, that game only had one DLC, but they remastered the DLC and resold it to us at a higher price than the fucking original one. If they do a Black Ops 1 remaster or a World at War remaster, they need to remaster all the DLCs, not resell it to us. It needs to be a complete package. They literally could call it Call of Duty Black Ops Remastered Definitive Edition. They could just call it something like that. Whole package. That is what they gotta do. Because back in 2016, people weren't as critical, of the game. They got away. It was just a one-off DLC. It wasn't a big deal. Who gives a fuck? But, the DLC over time, compared to that game, Black Ops 1, the DLC is a lot bigger. You got the zombies maps. They need to remaster the whole package. I think that would be perfect. It would make everyone happy, as long as they don't fuck over the matchmaking. Because like they did here in Black Ops 7, they fucked over the matchmaking, completely lying to us. They're still lying to us about it, right now. My lobby earlier today, this was the best match I have. That once in a while you get a good game, but it's not as consistent as it should be. And the matchmaking does take longer. I'm not going to go on about the matchmaking, which that is another point. Okay, that is my fifth point on here, matchmaking. So how do you save Call of Duty? This goes for a remaster or just in general, in the future. With, I don't want to go too on. Like I said, oh my god, I'm losing my train of thought here because I'm trying to... The second matchmaking gets in my head, it fucks everything up, because I'm so sick of talking about matchmaking, but it needs to be talked about on how to save Call of Duty. They need to go back to the classic matchmaking, not the fucking SBMM, not this bullshit that they got in Black Ops 7, because it's not skill-based matchmaking, but they got some sort of fucking... It ain't classic, even in the description, even in the game itself. In the game itself, it doesn't say classic matchmaking. So all these retards out there that say that are cheering no skill-based matchmaking, it's not rigged, it's everything we wanted. No, it's not, because it literally doesn't say in-game classic matchmaking like it did in the beta. So they need to bring back the classic matchmaking for the whatever they do, remaster or anything. If they can do that, the game, it will be on track. We'll be on track for something special. So now let's get into the next Call of Duty that, not a remaster, nothing, just Modern Warfare 4 or whatever the hell it's going to be. What do they got to do? This is my opinion. But first off, the movement needs to go. It needs to go. The movement nowadays is too fucking fast. It's been too fast for the last few years. They did a good thing in this game by removing Tac Sprint. They put it in a perk. They shouldn't have even put it in a perk because, for one, nobody uses it, so it was pointless. And two, it's just... Well, maybe there ain't even really a second option. It's just stupid. It's stupid. It's garbage. So, obviously, the movement needs to go. And all these people say, oh, the movement, it creates skill gaps. It creates skill gaps. It doesn't create as much skill gaps as people think. People think the movement determines a gunfight win. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Because with the way the matchmaking is, especially with the way the matchmaking is, it doesn't create a skill gap because everybody's playing exactly the way you are. The matchmaking is rigged to a lesser extent now, but it's still rigged. So how's there a skill gap there if everybody's playing the exact same way, Obviously, there would be a skill gap if they got rid of skill-based matchmaking completely, and if they actually went back to the classic matchmaking, there would be a skill gap there. But for now, that ain't the way it is. Maybe keep it if they bring back the classic matchmaking, that maybe then it would be more enjoyable. But right now, it's not enjoyable because with the way the matchmaking rigs the games, everybody moves, everybody plays the exact same way 90% of the time, besides that one-off good game you get. Let's jump into the creative class system. The creative class system needs a fucking overhaul. And when I say overhaul, I mean they need to completely destroy what they got now and just bring back the old one, Pick 10 system. Because you can't go wrong with the Pick 10 system. It should have never been replaced in the first place. But it goes deeper than just the Pick 10 system. For one, why is the Pick-10 system good? Well, the reason I like the Pick-10 system, sorry, was people didn't run grenades and tacticals that often. Most of the time I played Black Ops 2, I didn't run that shit. Nowadays, people are forced to have it, and I think Call of Duty plays better when when you don't have grenade spam, when you don't have concussions, stuns, stim shots, when you don't have all that shit being spammed, it's just a much better experience. Back in Black Ops 2 with the OG Pick-10 system, you know, once in a while people ran C4s because, you know, there was the classic C4 sandwich, and I started using the C4 sandwich quite a bit when I realized how good it was. But it wasn't mandatory, and it wasn't spammed. People didn't spam throwables back then because you didn't need to run them. Instead, it was the trade-off. You know, why run a grenade or even a C4 when you could have an extra attachment for your gun? Nowadays, it's all built in. It's just all built in, you know. Nowadays, you have 5 attachments by default. Back then, you only had, like, what, 2 attachments by default? And then you had to use your fucking wild card to get 3 attachments? Nowadays, you get the lethal and tacticals and 5 attachments by default. I think that's way too fucking many. It's stupid. There should be trade-offs. In the creative class systems nowadays, there's not enough trade-off with them. Besides the perks here and there. There's some trade-off in the perks. But as far as like attachments and stuff, there's no trade-offs. And I think it's stupid. And then that brings me to my next point. The attachment system needs a complete overhaul. It needs to go. We need to go back to the classic attachment system. We don't need 500 sights. We don't need 30 different laser sights. All that shit, they put it in the game in Modern Warfare 2019 as a customization. That's what they market it as. It's customization. So you can fine-tune your guns. Even in Modern Warfare 3 2023, the recent Modern Warfare 3 that came out, they had that tuning system. Or was that Modern Warfare 2? I don't know. It was one of them. I think it was Modern Warfare 3 that had the tuning. It's like, dude, fuck off, dude. Nobody used it. Nobody used that system besides the super hardcore sweats that want the perfect build. You know, those morons. But all we need is one barrel. We need a long barrel, a suppressor, and, well, that's basically it. You know, as far as attachments, you only need 1 red dot sight. Maybe 2. You know, your red dot sight, your holographic sight, your long range sight, and maybe your mini. That's all you need. Grips, you don't need 500 grips. You only need 1 grip. Plain and simple. I mean, it's complex for nothing. It really is. It's one of those manipulative tactics to make you think there's more customization in the game than there actually is. Given there is a lot of customization in the game thanks to the progression system, which I like that. But it's stupid. It's just stupid. Straight up. A positive note. What should they keep in Black Ops 7? Well, obviously, as I was just saying, the progression system. The progression system here in Black Ops 7 is top tier, best of the best. It's the best progression system in any Call of Duty game ever. It needs to stay permanently. The prestige rewards, the permanent attachment unlocks or whatever. You know, just the whole progression system, the mastery, the overclocking system, which adds more depth to your streaks and your equipment. You know, just, it's so good, dude. This system they got is so good, and it needs to stay permanently, because if any Call of Duty game releases, besides a remaster, not counting a remaster, but any newer Call of Duty that releases, and if it doesn't have progression like Black Ops 7, it's just gonna look worse, straight up. Even if the game is better, it's gonna look worse for not having all the progression features in it. Another point, I made this point in my last video, you know, it's just a minor point here, but I want to discuss it a little more, is how older Call of Duties, they built off each other. Modern Call of Duties ain't really building off of each other. I mean, this game, technically, it built off of Black Ops 6, but the thing is that Black Ops 6 was purposely made shit just so all of these features could be in this one. You know, obviously that's not right. That's fucking brain dead stupid. It's just... And back to the creative class, the stim shot needs to go. I think the stim shot is the reason the games are too fast-paced, and it's not that I don't like a fast-paced Call of Duty. It's that when it gets overly fast-paced is when, like I've even said this in my previous videos before, the maps play worse, the spawns get more fucked up when the movement is so fast. You know, the amount of times people, you know, you spawn, you move up 2 feet, and then they spawn right behind you. It happens so often nowadays, and it's because people are running and going all over the fucking map so fast that people end up spawning. I mean, I won't lie, most of the time the spawn system works, but for those moments that it doesn't work, blatantly doesn't work, it's, you know, it's because of how fast-paced it is. You know, obviously there were times in the older games where you had bad spawns, but most of the time more frequently they worked good. But yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. Field upgrades, they gotta go. Why are field upgrades a thing? I don't know. I think field upgrades were one of those things. They just put it in there to make it seem like, again, there's more customization, there's more depth in your creative class, but in the end, it's a waste of fucking time. All of those things could just be lethals or tacticals that people can run. Given, I do think here in Black Ops 7, the field upgrades are this is the best iteration of field upgrades. You know, back before, you know, they had Dead Silence in there in Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2, and that was a major problem. I think one reason the field upgrades are better now is that it's more, you know, stuff like the decoy or the, what is that called? Squad link. You know, I actually like the squad link. You know, it's something you just throw down quick, boom, you're done. But a lot of it is just, it's just a waste, in my opinion. Because you always, every single year since the field upgrades have been in the game, it's been a situation of people run two different field upgrades. There's like 2 good ones, and then the rest are just a bunch of crap. You know, half of the field upgrades in the game don't get used because why would you use them? You know, Squad Link is clearly one of the best ones because you're always getting, you know, you're getting more score for all your teammates. You know, 15 points every linked teammate, more score for your kills. It's just completely better than something like the fucking fear gas or whatever. Or that might be a tactical, actually. I don't remember. There's so much garbage littered around that it's hard to even remember what half of it is because you don't run half of it because it sucks. But yeah, either way, I mean, that is my quick rendition of, you know, how to make a game better. You know, for example, Modern Warfare 3 built off of the OG Modern Warfare 2. Back to this topic here. You know, they're basically the same game, just with different maps and a few added bonuses with, you know, better modes, you know, some different variation in streaks. I do think the OG MW2 had a little bit better maps than the OG MW3, but an even better example is Black Ops 2 to Black Ops 1. Like I made the comparison in my last video. You know, overall, they're the same game, but they took all the aspects of Black Ops 1 and made them even better without going too crazy. And that was the issue with Modern Warfare 2019, is they went too crazy. They changed up the whole system, and now we're at this point where I guess you could technically say the last 6 years of modern Call of Duty, the skill-based matchmaking era, the games have been similar and building off of each other technically, just not in the right ways. You know, they haven't been taking the streaks and making them more powerful. Instead, they kept making them worse. You know, and Cold War changed the way you earn streaks, with you know, not resetting on death, the score, which in turn just made it worse because it made them harder to get. And yeah, basically we just need a refresh. They need to go back to the basics. That's the thing, is Call of Duty's gotten too complex. Too complex nowadays, and for no reason. It's just for no reason Call of Duty's gotten complex. You know, it was much simpler. Obviously, you don't want it too simple. I'm not saying you want it as simple as COD 4 or even Black Ops 1 or even Black Ops 2 for that matter. You don't want it so simple to where you're taking away features, but the core gameplay needs to stay simple. That's what I'm getting at here, is the core gameplay needs to stay simple. It's the stuff on the outside, the progression and stuff that needs to, you know, expand. Which, I guess you could make the argument that, oh, they expanded the creative class, but the thing is, they expanded it crappy. You know, Advanced Warfare, for example, took the Pick 10 system and made it a Pick 13 system. That is expanding it without going overboard and making it stupid, you know? And I say make it stupid, I'm referring to, you know, having the 500 attachments. You know, all this stuff that doesn't get used. Again, because, you know, you have 500 attachments, and then only, what, 2 get used? You know, out of all the barrels, you find the one you like, and you run that one, and that's it. All these other, you know, you got all this crap that doesn't get used. It's in the game for no reason. That's an example of these modern games of being too complex. You don't need to have 60 grips. There's no reason. There's no point, because there's only gonna end up being a few good ones. But anyways, like I said, that is my short, you know, 20-minute video on how to fix Call of Duty. Just, they need to take a step back, go back to the old ways. Look at the old ways. You know, matchmaking is always going to be the #1 factor. It always is, and it's still not perfect. I don't want to harp on matchmaking again too often, but it's hard not to, because it's hard. I understand why people are so passionate about matchmaking. I'm passionate about matchmaking, which sounds crazy to say because I shouldn't be, because it shouldn't be an issue. But that is the first step. We got to go back to the classic matchmaking. And like I keep repeating 500 fucking times, for all the people that think this game's got the classic matchmaking, it don't. It does. It literally tells you in the game it's not the classic matchmaking. So all these people, don't listen to them when they say that the games, they listened, we got the old matchmaking, because we don't. Literally, my head's going to start hurting if I talk about matchmaking anymore. I'm so fucking over it. But getting Call of Duty back on track, we need to keep fighting for that, because we need the classic matchmaking. We need it. I think the success of Call of Duty is determined based on whether or not we get the classic matchmaking, because the one they got in Black Ops 7 here is good, but I don't think it's going to keep the series, I don't think it's going to make the series grow. The type of matchmaking that's in Black Ops 7 is the type of matchmaking that pushes casuals away, so yeah, either way, I think that about wraps up this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little discussion. Let me know in the comments, if you made it this far in the video, what do you think needs to happen? What needs to happen? Do you agree with a lot of my points? I kind of rambled on. I kind of got my thoughts mixed together here. I'm not really good at rambling on about this kind of stuff, but I thought I need to get a video out. There's nothing to fucking talk about here in Call of Duty besides, oh, we got the arcade modes coming back, or what were they called? Party modes, that's what they were called, party modes. So, good news there. Season 1 is looking good. I'm going to give it that. I got Shattered Gold almost on the AK-12, so I'm working on that. Probably going to stream today. If you're watching this video the day of the recording, I'm probably live on YouTube. So, going to be live tonight. If not, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. More streams and videos like this are coming on the way. Also, if you're wondering about this, my son is being born tomorrow. At the time of this recording, tomorrow. If you're watching this, it's more than likely the day after. He's probably giving birth at this very moment. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate that. Let me know, give me some video ideas. Let me know what you want to talk about. And yeah, let me know in the comments how to fix Call of Duty. Your opinions on that. Anyways, give this video a like, help it get in the algorithm. I'm done talking now, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.